Rowie and Blown.
I only say that, Michael, because the Crows want to pick him up.
Yeah.
Weekday afternoons from 4 on 1395. Adelaide's 5AA.
Interactive radio. Text 1999 1395. Peter Godfrey.
Minutes past 5 Thursday morning. Let's head across the ditch. We're headed to New Zealand. Find out things happening over there. Selwyn Manning from livenews.co.nz. Selwyn, good morning. How are you?
Yeah, good morning, Peter.
Nice, beautiful looking morning in Auckland, is it?
Oh, the sun's trying and struggling to come out, but there's big grey clouds that have been raining overnight, and it looks like they promised to give us a good dosing of water again today.
Well, you got to send some back to us because we're still wanting it.
Are you still?
Yeah. We've had a little bit.
Good.
No good. All right, first story this morning. A highly respected Labor Party MP and the former Minister for Maori Affairs has passed away this week. What can you tell us about him for those that may be not familiar?
Yeah, Parekura Horomia. Now, he's a very well-known, certainly well-connected MP here in New Zealand. In Maori circles, he came from the Ngāti Porou tribe, or iwi, over on the East Cape of the North Island, and came from very, very humble beginnings. And he had worked as a sheep shearer, all sorts of jobs, got himself into jobs of management over the years, and then entered into politics, both on a local and regional level, and then into central government politics and in Parliament. It wasn't soon after he entered Parliament that he became an Associate Minister of Foreign Maori Affairs, I should say, and then he became Maori Affairs Minister after that as well in the Helen Clark Labor government of the 2000s. Now, he was a huge man, Peter, big in size, and struggled with his weight over most of his adult life. But that seemed to give him a gravitas as well, particularly amongst his people. But he had tried over the years to trim back that weight, and for a time he was very successful at that, but it was always clear that he struggled in some ways. But he didn't appear to be ill in any way in the months leading up to his death earlier this week, Peter, but certainly he was obviously not a well man at all. And the tributes to his passing have been coming in and flooding into all media, and also right throughout the communities. And there are thousands that have been gathering down on the East Cape and around Tolaga Bay, which is a beautiful spot down there. And the tangi, or the funeral ceremonies that are planned, they've already begun, and they will go for some days yet.
How old was he?
He's 62 years of age.
Okay, young.
And some would say, a lot of politicians start reaching their stride at that age, particularly when they're representing groups and things. But a lot of people have reflected back on his maiden speech and what he was doing. Now, I won't quote directly from it, but what he was doing was he was making a reflection back on what it was like for East Coast Maori back when he was a child, and he made a reference to how he and his brothers and his sisters and his cousins would be standing out on the side of the road or walking to school, and the school bus would chug past them full of Pākehā kids or white kids, and it didn't pick them up. And they just thought, well, that's the way it was. And then when they got a bit older, if the bus stopped, they'd refuse to get on. And he kind of showed a time where there was obviously, racial lines that were pretty high. And he said one of the things that he was trying to do in his life was to stop that, and that any bus would always be, carrying his Maori people as well.
Okay.
So that was a controversial speech. You had people coming out after that saying, "Oh, it's just a yarn. I can remember him sitting next to me on the bus," and things like that. But generally, it was accepted that what he was talking about was both, it happened in reality and also symbolic as well.
Yeah. Interesting. Just sort of generally speaking, it's the interesting thing compared to Australian politics that New Zealand, there is a far greater representation of Maori within your parliament compared to here, which is something that I guess there are attempts here to balance the numbers, but not successful as yet, really.
Well, one of the ways that has been achieved over the years has been that in New Zealand law there are 7 Maori seats that are set aside. So there's 7 electorates where the Maori or the descendants of Maori can vote for their own people, and so that assures representation.
Yeah.
But many Maori are in the Parliament as well that have not gone in on the Maori seats. But it's an interesting kind of way. I guess that comes back to these differences between, Australia and New Zealand in the sense that New Zealand signed into a treaty between the Maori people and all other races. Yeah. So it's a bicultural kind of aspect, and that remains today.
Yeah, indeed. 2 other stories. Your housing. Housing prices are at record levels. Affordable housing, obviously, quite an issue there. What are the levels? First of all, what sort of prices are you looking there in New Zealand?
Well, right over the country, the prices have gone up to around $447,200. That's the mean national price. Now, if you break that down, that's gone up over the whole country a little bit by around about $1,000 since November last year. But when you're looking at where the areas are that are pushing that mean price up, it's significantly Auckland City. And the mean price in Auckland at the moment is $612,100. And in the Central Lakes Otago area, now that's around, for some people who may have been down the South Island, it's Queenstown and all those absolutely fantastically beautiful lakes. And there's been a lot of overseas investment into those areas, and also people in New Zealand that have done pretty good for themselves, and they've bought up real estate around those lakes. It's absolutely picturesque. Now, that's the most expensive part. It's surprising there. And the mean price for the Central Lakes Otago area is $679,900, Peter.
That's extraordinary. That's like Sydney here.
Yeah, it's gone up. If you look at the Central Lakes area, it's gone up nearly $40,000 since on the average, on the mean since November. So that's really hiking up. Got to say though, in Auckland, it's really hard to find a house that would come into that $612,000 that's on the record there. The closer you get to the city, the higher the prices are. But around that the city green kind of areas, in the inner suburbs, you're looking around $850,000 to over $1 million for an ordinary 3-bedroom, tidy good home.
Yeah.
So they're really pushed up.
So leading to issues of shortages of housing, are there many coming available? And
Well, it's a huge debate here, about how the government can cool down the market. What it's worried about is that because New Zealand has no capital gains tax, so that's one of the things. Unlike you guys, there's speculation and investors coming in buying these places up, and some of them are land banking, where there's been spare land, they'll buy the land and sit there because they know on the paper it's making more than they can make in financial and bank investments. Yeah. So they'll sit there and they sit there and they sit there, and then bang, they'll sell this stuff, and it's making the economy crook in many areas. In New Zealand, most of the banks that are lending are owned by overseas interests, so therefore it pushes up that current account deficit the more and more indebted New Zealanders become in those areas. And it's a bit of a shambles. All governments have been trying to do something about it, and national-led government's been trying to basically talk down the market, if put it that way. Clearly, by these numbers that are coming through, it's unsuccessful in that. Labor, it says that it'll bring in a capital gains tax to basically cool down the investment aspects of it, and also it's going to have a policy it's rolled out saying if we get in next time in 2014, we're going to have affordable houses where people will be able to, first-time buyers will be able to get into a house in the outer Auckland area, for example, for around $300,000, etc. So whether or not they can achieve that is a matter of debate and speculation, but it seems like they're setting themselves a goal. There's a big problem here.
Yeah, indeed. So is there much detail on what form the capital gains tax would have? Would it be on just investments, or would it cover the family home as well?
No, not the family home. It'll exclude that. Yeah. So that seems where Labor was pitching, for the average Kiwi battler, that families, etc., etc., you're not going to be stung in the back pocket by having to cough up a capital gains tax on your family home and that type of thing. But if you had a second home and you had it rented out, or you're making it as an investment, doing it up and selling it, well, that's a part of your income, people. And it seemed like people seemed to think that was okay, although Labor obviously campaigned on that last election in 2011 and it didn't get there. But yeah, I think by the look of it, they'll be having a rethink.
Yeah, okay. Well, that's the system here. It doesn't apply on the family home. It's only on investment properties.
Seems fair, doesn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. Those kind of prices obviously would impact on the rental market as well. So troubles for renters.
You know, and it does, right across the community. So you can see in the Auckland area what's happening is it's creating like a gentrification where some people can't afford the rates anymore, so they're moving out into cheaper areas, etc., etc. So it's really a transitional period. The other thing, too, is some of the fundamentals. I know that the opposition parties, the Greens and Labor, who can get a sense that they may have a fair shot at the next election, and they're starting to really firm up their economics underneath it in the sense that they would instruct the Reserve Bank to, for those that know their numbers and the economics, you know, it's an area where I struggle to explain it really accurately, but what they're talking about is where the banks hold a certain amount of money that's a lot less than what they lend out. Now, the policy of the two opposition parties is to adjust the amount that a bank must have in its coffers before it kind of lends it out to people. And so, therefore, it would reduce the flow of credit money, making it so easy for people to get in with a low deposit and a lot of borrowed money into the homes, which pushes up the values all the time. So right at the core area, the parties seem to be trying to find solutions, and it's a kind of faceted approach. So whether or not it works, well, maybe in 10 years, if we're sitting here with the crocheted blanket over my knees talking to you, Peter, over the radio, we'll be able to do a comparison.
We will. We'll make a note, just and we can come back to it another time. All right, so what, your mean price in Auckland, 679,000, compared to the median.
Mean price in Auckland, 612,100. The mean price around the Queenstown area, $679,900.
All right.
Yeah, so it's pretty high.
To compare the March this year figures for the Adelaide metropolitan median price, 390.
Wow.
So
People move to Adelaide.
Or our national median, 519. But there we go.
If your government was kinder and gave us Kiwis a fair shot at your social welfare, we'd be over there in droves, mate. If we haven't already.
If we haven't already, indeed. All right, Selwyn, many thanks. We'll catch up with you again next week. Have a great week.
You too. See you,
mate. Bye-bye. Selwyn Manning in New Zealand, livenews.co.nz to catch up some other news from New Zealand. And speaking of which, our news coming up, and Stone with a full bulletin of news, sport and weather next. Then more calls, 8223 0000.
Hey, Wilds here. Reckon you can pick a winner? Well, here's your chance to make some dough at your local pub tab. Tatsbet is on the hunt for 5AA's Pub Tab of the Week. Just select your favourite pub tab from the list on our website, 5AA.com.au. Now, if your local is the weekly winner, you can score a Tatsbet voucher worth $100 and go in the draw for the major prize of a table for 10 in the Tapestry Pavilion at Morfettville on Goodwood Day.